Walmart one? I'm not sure if it's...
It's the same style. They always did the same X at Walmart.
Yeah, I just don't know which retailer
Okay.
Silverado goes to, so
Okay.
I don't want to give you the wrong answer.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, if the Silverado's the Walmart one, then it'll be in the vending machine.
Will Target be doing another mailing?
That's a great question. I don't know.
From my standpoint, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
The Target event didn't go well. The cases, they put cases on the shelves earlier before the event.
And that was last year.
Yes, it was last
Target's
year.
first time.
Yes, and the mailing was the 18th May. But yeah, the event did not, if you're comparing the event to K-Days, it was not good.
Yeah, and I know like there was some learning curve obviously with that one. That was Walmart or Target's first event. Yeah. Kmart has been doing this for
many years.
So they have like their employees know how the system works and everything like that. So rest assured, if Target does do one, and I'll try to find out and I'll get back to you guys on Saturday. Okay. I need to ask.
Go ahead and ask questions, and if they're, I'll try and pass some along.
If you do one, I'm sure it might be a lot smoother. I would hope because they'll learn from the first
experience.
Yeah. Exactly.
That question.
Yes, sir.
Why doesn't Mattel or Hot Wheels send out like secret shoppers to go around sporadically to the different like Walmart stores? Mine near Grimes, Iowa, you're lucky if you have one car for 4 hooks.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't put them out. Why?
So we do have, it's called RSO, like our retail service organization. Their team is obviously not the biggest. I mean, but they have them there, and you know, unfortunately, it's hard to get them to all different regions. So you know, they'll go check out one area, check out another area, and stuff like that. So we do have theoretically secret shoppers or people that help actually fill the shelves as well to help assist Walmart.
How many do you have across the U.S.? I know in Washington there's 2 in North and South.
I'm not sure how big that whole group is.
Is there anything that we can do as collectors as far as reaching out to someone in our region and, you know, giving a phone call, writing an email to say, hey, would you mind checking up on a store?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like I know a lot of you guys probably speak with the store managers and everything like that.
Falls on deaf ears.
So when we're looking at like refilling it and stuff, we're going off of Walmart's number. There's literally refill rates or in-stock numbers or in-stock percentages. Obviously that system could probably be improved and stuff, but you know, when we see, you know, the in-stock rate is at 90% right now, that's, you know, obviously we'd like to be 100, but 90% is not that bad. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about that system because it's Walmart's own system. I don't know if it's literally taking just a big blanket average over all the stores and not accounting for some stores that literally only have 4 cars on X as opposed to one that has 4 case bags on X.
I've even gone in there and depending on the store, I'll see them on the cart. I'll put them up on the hook for you.
Yeah.
You know, and they say no.
And they're still not out.
And they're still not out. And for a collector, it kind of frustrates me. Like me. And to try to, you know, go around and find them.
I feel the same way because I hunt too. I go to my local Walmart and Target and I see 2 bags sometimes.
Walmart's corporate policy though is if it's on the floor, it's for sale.
This is you to the employees though. Don't read that memo.
So you got to pay the person who works at Walmart enough money for the backs and the back so they can open it up and take the car out. Or the guy.
You guys are trying way too hard for these cars. Just buy the master set at the end of the year.
I know the Walmart.
My question is on the Kmart issue. So on Kmart's issue. So this last event, it does
The one tomorrow, right?
it's supposed to be for tomorrow. Now the online was supposed to start a week ahead of time. It started 2 weeks ahead of time and sold out before anybody even knew it. So now there's a lot of people out there that can't get the Kmart cars, like myself, because I didn't know it was on sale, and I wanted the Bronco. So now how do we get it?
The closest Well,
the closest Kmart is like,
is 120 miles or something.
yeah.
Are you gonna go to the local one in Chicago?
And
I'm gonna go
other than that, I
videotape.
have to figure out how to get to a Kmart to get,
But
The
are you
state-
sure they're sold out for good, or they're?
Oh, yeah, we've
were
been
they just
online
only
trying to get
sold
them.
out?
Online they're sold out. Now, for the
Doesn't mean
stores,
they're not gonna come back.
And at the Des Moines area, there's not one.
been trying.
all went
They
out of
keep saying
business.
they're not gonna get any more
I thought there was
online.
one left.
But that just closed up,
Well,
last
a
September.
perfect example is the,
The one that was
yeah,
on
the
Hubble
blue
and Easton.
yeah.
Yeah, closed up.
Those got sold out
It's
online,
empty.
but then they ended up in Kroger shippers,
Yeah.
so they weren't really sold out. And somehow they came back
Yeah.
in
You know,
rotation
That was what,
2 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah. But my question, is there a way to get that at a later, not, like, I know you're putting things in the vending machine, but that's the Walmart.
yeah, so that Bronco will,
So how do we get that, other than going online and buying it from the secondhand?
and there's no Kmart's near you at all?
No,
There's one
there's-
in Washington.
And one away soon too.
There's probably averaging right now maybe 2 to 3 per state at best. I know in Iowa, I think there's only one left in the entire state. They're just,
I got Walmart's on the
Dwindling
list
out.
too that say that they're active. Walmart's on the list they was
Yeah, and
released,
they're gone.
and they're just dead in the water. You go there and it's now just a parking lot.
There's one that's just right down the road, and it's an empty lot, and it never was a Kmart. It's on the list.
Yeah.
So.
I guess,
drove by it to see
is
if I
there,
could just buy
is there
some
a
cars
future
that-
plan when Kmart finally is done, they close all stores? Is there a plan in place of maybe moving that mail-in process or KD or a gate process somewhere?
Yes, it's going somewhere else.
Can you disclose any information on it?
No, because I'm not on that team, and I don't know if it's officially announced yet, but it's going somewhere else.
pay them off, they'll tell you.
I really don't know.
I know, I'm joking.
Yeah, I was just on top of the legend skirt stuff, the line for the Dawson. If you could forward this comment to whoever handles that there needs to be some sort of numbering system where people line up, because I believe this person who lost Christianity is going in front of the line, and that birthday for them,
Just people cutting?
yeah. I mean, if they had a number system, like, people wouldn't be able to call their buddy and let them cut in front of them because they didn't have a number.
Do they run out?
I'll let the person know on the vending truck the next day after the so
But you got,
I got one previous day, but I was getting one for,
and they ran out on the second day.
yeah. So if you just forward that to them.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a list of the Walmarts that the vending only is stopping at? I know there's a list for Legends Tour. Is there a way to know
I
which
think they're
one?
finalizing all the stops, so it'll be more of just, like, once they finalize some more, they'll say, okay, they're coming to these.
There's a website where you put in zip code and it tells you what stores in the area.
Oh, okay.
But I don't, it was really hard, somebody posted a link
Yeah.
and I found it, but you can't find it on Walmart's website, but it's on Walmart's website.
Okay.
I came in late, the question may have been asked already, but, if an item's in your cart, how can you lose it?
What,
When you're buying a rental club car,
How can you lose it?
yeah, I've had items that were in my cart, go to purchase, and then it says, oh, it's sold out. After 10 minutes of,
Or just keep reloading.
reloading, whatever, or re-sign in 2-3 times,
So,
2-3 times, and then it still shows your card, but then sold out.
because I'm assuming the actual stock sold out, but it hasn't actually refreshed your card. I don't know if our systems are capable, have that capability to do that. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's something to take note of. Yeah.
One more question.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate to get horribly black gas, which is dark blue one. Are there more coming out, or is that, supply?
The Kroger exclusive black
They were
gas.
supposed to be Toys R Us and
Oh.
Kroger, and then they showed up at Walmart's.
There,
And miners. We got ours in miners.
are you asking if there's gonna be more?
Yeah, more for that.
Typically, for most of the items we make it once, and that's it. There's only one production. very rarely, sometimes we'll rerun certain things, but that's something typical that we won't run.
It doesn't mean it's sold out though, because I heard from the Walmart rep in our area that it's just sitting in the DC. And it's supposed to go to secondary retail.
But they don't know.
She said there was a ton of cases in secondary, ready to go to secondary retail.
But specifically that makes in that case code?
Yes. So it may not be that it's sold out and it hasn't been pushed through yet.
I mean, I'm looking at my inventory report and we don't have cases left of that. So it might be in their DC, but not in Mattel ones. I don't know what they have. And I don't know how they can pull it. Like, I don't know if they can just request it or not, but they might still have some in retail. We just don't see that. Or at least to that.
Yeah.
Great.
I've noticed recently that the large bins that Walmart gets are getting a little fewer and far between. Is that something in the future that's maybe being phased out and they'll go back to just getting single cases of stock, or do you guys have any control over that where they get the big like 9-case bins? There's fewer and fewer of those coming out as they were. I didn't know if they were changing how main lines were going to be sold or delivered to the store.
So, I mean, that retail space is always hard to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we've historically had basics and then themed assortments, and then we switch back and forth throughout the month. This year specifically, you know, you will barely find any themed assortments in a pre-pack or a dump bin like that. So for 2020, it might change. For 2019, at least for spring, you're going to see a lot less. They'll only be basic items. You know, they might bring some back, or if there's a movie coming out, you know, they'll support it that way.
Okay.
But yeah, it probably won't be as regular as we've done in the past, but we still have it.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Or like, how do you distribute cases from, like, I guess, like, your DC to stores? Is there some sort of like first in, first out where they get rid of the old stuff first?
So we have a whole release planning team.
Yeah.
That works at the tower in El Segundo. And, you know, typically they say, okay, release K or release L, whatever it is. So for like the major retailers, Walmart, Target, Kroger, you know, the release planning team distributes out the cases specifically to what's newest that we have in our DC. Now, if there's an additional order that's we weren't expecting, then we might just give whatever's in stock.
Okay. So for instance, like a bunch of Walmart neighborhood markets, like in my area, they all of a sudden started getting 2018 bins, like mini bins. So is that just sitting somewhere in Walmart's place, or is that getting?
It could have been. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like our goal is until we're not trying to inventory anything. We're trying to get rid of this stuff as soon as possible. So, you know, we try to send it out.
We have 5 children in our ministry, a 5-year-old girl. She likes to collect with her brothers. One thing that I have noticed with her is she definitely likes the pink and stuff like that, but it's missing the fact of when you've got candy stripers and stuff like that, there needs to be something represented for the younger girl that collects in the line, because with her, it's like, I mean, she's got the Barbie car, she's got that small group that was definitely targeted for girls. But when it comes to looking at overall, I think you could satisfy the poor male group, but also come up with something that's really appealing to the girls as well. Because like the candy, I mean, she's all over when, you know, they're going with her dad, you know, she tends to pick the really colorful ones, so, of course, girlier colors and stuff like that, but she loves the Simpsons ones, that's one of her favorites and stuff like that. I just think overall, if you had something, you might see a kick in sales just by picking up something that's a little bit more in tune with what their tastes are.
Yeah.
I got lots of questions. I'll keep them.
I'll be here for a while.
Maybe more for Brendan on this one. With the kind of revamp of the RLC cars and the focus on moving parts, will there be more in the works along those lines, more intricate moving parts coming in the future, or is this kind of a 2019 only where the focus is moving parts? Will it be more of that moving forward?
It will be more of that, but there is a point of diminishing return on complexity of moving parts, because at a certain point, the car just costs more. And there is a certain marketing person on the team, I'm not gonna say his name, but if I make the car too expensive, then of course the cost has to go up, and at what point do you wanna, how much do you wanna pay for a 160/40 car? So I am being kept in check in how complex I make the cars. I might be pushing it a little bit more on one next year. We'll see how that one costs and comes back. We're still working on it.
Any hints, clues?
Is it a muscle car or a JDM car?
Neither. That's
So it's a truck.
I will take trucks.
Yes. Specifically, it's Chevrolet trucks.
Yes, that's it.
Will it be a 4x4?
Oh, speaking of that, is there any hope in the future for some more of the truck SUVs from maybe the 80s that haven't been done? You know, case in point, the square body K5 Blazer. I know you guys recently did the older version, but any more of that? Maybe a Typhoon or a Cyclone, anything like that possibly in the works? Those iconic 80s or
we can
those,
say possibly,
those trucks,
but however, the Typhoon and the Cyclone were made in the 90s, so they don't really qualify.
True.
But the body started.
The body started.
But you said specifically.
Thanks for that. Thanks.
Yeah. We have to do our homework too.
Yes. Funny thing you said.
I like that 18 scale that you guys had, the metal bodies. Are you gonna bring that back too?
Not anytime soon. Yeah, we're sticking at 160.
Are you guys gonna be expanding on the gray strip demons set?
Ooh, that was Julian's best work. But it's a compliment.
All my work's my best work. Right now, we do not have another like slotted out yet, but I mean, of course, you know, it's something if everybody loves, we can take note. Just so you guys know, though, we do work in like 2-year time frames. So you know, we're starting 2021 right now. So if you guys see like, if you guys always wonder why we're so slow, it's because we're that far ahead in development. Like any tweaks that we change, you guys won't see for another year and a half come to market. So like if you say, no, don't do the opening door on that car, unless we're working on right then and there, like, you probably won't see the effect until 2 years.
Will you be working with Richard Drawings anymore?
He's one of our partners. He supports a lot of our brand activations. So.
He was at our Legends event in Miami, I believe.
Yep. He had the mics there.
Yeah.
Quick question. The guy who won the Legends Store last year, 2Jet Z, when should we see that in production?
Manson worked on that.
It'll be at the first mix of 2020, but that means September, October. Because our toy year ends around there, whereas the calendar year ends in December. So the 2020 line actually starts in 2020.
What car did you say? Just like a three.
The 2Jet Z.
Will
the Legends one. And it'll be in basics first.
will we possibly see a premium or even an RLC of that Legend Store win?
You're just scheduling smart.
I'm taking a picture of that. I got multiple. I can pull it up.
You can see it here. It's no sketch like a.
I'll come over there.
Okay, so this is probably more toward Brendan on the monster trucks.
Yes.
So, I know you're there, how far in the future are we going with them? Because with Monster Jam not being, you can't get there before, so what can you do? I mean, how far back can you go with established vehicles?
Well, Monster Jam is only a league that really was kind of a culmination of was the original TNT, the United States Hot Rod Truck and Tractor Pulling Association that kind of formed in the 90s just from things merging together. Really, I mean, and then I think Mattel had that license around 99 or something, doing the wrestling trucks and then started doing actual things. So I mean, there are trucks that were around before that. Obviously, we're working with Monster Truck #1, Bigfoot. They're not part of the Monster Jam League. So, I mean, we technically have the oldest monster truck that exists in our line.
So,
And now, as you know, we're working with Raycom, and we have the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks live events. We're doing live tours, which is just as legit as Monster Jam.
so what about the, and it's something I posted on the Matchbox ones. Is it a possibility of bringing some of them back? Because you have Matchbox now, at least in the versions of those monster trucks?
We won't share tools with Matchbox.
What's that?
We won't share tools with Matchbox.
And those tools are 30+ years old, but I think
Oh, no, I know,
the
but when
liveries of the truck. So it depends on the truck itself. I mean, one, it has to be available, because like Fell owners of Monster Jam, they do own the rights to a bunch of old trucks.
Right.
Like when back in 2012, you know, we did the then and now assortment. So we did vintage versions of some of those trucks. If you remember, like Excalibur, and you know, obviously Grave Digger, but we also did Samson and a few others too that were around in the 80s. So it really depends on those liveries. They have to be available. We'd have to get the rights to them. And then also it has to be compelling. Like, if it's something so obscure that 3 people are going to know about it, it's hard to make that sale for general moms and kids, but everybody obviously knows Bigfoot or something that's very Sriracha. Sriracha, yeah. Because that was around in the 80s too.
Yeah.
But anyways, it all depends. It would be a case-by-case basis. Is there a particular one that you're hoping
I
for?
like the USA one.
USA one.
Different ones like the one there.
I'm just gonna say, you know, we're aware of USA one.
That's a yes.
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 We're aware
Because
of
you have a
USA
casting similar already, so.
Yeah.
Well, there's another company that's kind of started their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Another premium, if you will, die-cast company that started their own set of monster trucks.
Yeah,
So I don't know how that, if you get in competing there, that makes it hard for you to get a license to be able to do some of those orders.
Potentially, if they lock it, they secure it, we try to go after it if we can.
There's only a certain amount of OEM companies that will do exclusive rights. Most of them won't. You know, there's a lot of die-cast companies out there.
So a couple questions from viewers. One is, has there been some thought given to an exotics type segment in car culture or something, you know, in a premium way, in a premium line? And then also any comments on why we haven't seen Toyotas for a while?
Definitely selling exotics. Again, my comment earlier, we work in 2-year timeframes. Actually, we'll be working 3-year timeframes coming up soon in the next month. Yes, so but you have to be patient.
So maybe something.
Exotics. Toyotas, they are, I love Toyotas. I drive Toyota. I have two. Hopefully we'll see them return soon.
Do you have the Koenigsegg license?
Yes.
That question came up just now too.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do have it.
Okay.
From a marketing standpoint, and I know you probably don't have these numbers, but as far as like play sets and things like that, is that something that y'all see a decline in, or increase, or is it steady? I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I know from a collectability standpoint or from a purchasing standpoint.
So definitely not collectible in a sense. It's targeted towards kids. In the past 5 years, Hot Wheels has beat their previous year's numbers. So in general, the portfolio has grown. So basic cars, mini vehicles, that's grown. Also tracks and play sets. Realistically, I believe it's about like a 60-40 split. So as a percentage of business, 40 being the tracks and play sets. It could be off on that.
Is that based on dollars or volume pieces?
Dollar. Yeah.
So like no thoughts of, I mean, from a collectability standpoint, from a, I don't want to generalize the term, but maybe I need to, like a diorama or anything like that. Any thoughts of having that? Because a lot of collectors, what I see, are they're looking for those things for if they're going to display or they're going to do something like that, and they usually have to go with the old school ones, you know, which are nice, but
Yeah,
just curious.
So I was thinking you were talking about like literally tracks and play sets.
But I was asking both. First question was, you answered perfectly.
So display dioramas and stuff, we've tinkered with the ideas. We've done some in the past. There's specific reasons why we don't sell them individually. We're not going to sell a pack of them by itself, just put it that way. Thinking of dioramas and wheels, you might see something come down the line next year or so.
Couple questions. With the recent 50th anniversary, 50 car display that Hot Wheels put out, is there going to be anything in the future, like display case, that we can buy? Is there anything more in the future along the lines of Mattel official product for display cases to be purchased, like, or any more displays, maybe silhouette displays or anything like that?
So we'll do that display again. It'll have a different car in there.
Okay.
So we've already, so that specific display will continue.
Okay.
It'll have a different card every year. In terms of other display sets with a different shape or form, stuff like that, we try to execute one at the same time that this 48 card display was executed, but it just didn't, the financials weren't working, it just didn't make sense at the time. Something we'll always consider, I just can't guarantee anything like that.
Okay. And also on the lines of customizers and reel riders, with technology advancing and all the options for production out there, will we possibly see more colored tires in the future other than just the whites? And I think we saw some orange on the Ghost Rider Charger.
So
will
we
there
have the
be
ability
more
to,
colors, like greens, blues, reds, anything like that?
I mean, we have the ability to do whatever color tire that we want. It just doesn't make sense for the release.
Okay.
And the white ones for like that Beatles.
Yeah.
There was a white out, made sense. For Ghost Rider Charger, we wanted the tires on fire, so let's make them orange.
Okay.
If there's a casting that needs to have green wheel and tires, then we'll do.
All right.
The MEA car, is that a tampon on the tire?
I'm sorry?
The MEA car, is that a tampon on the tire?
I think it was DHA. It was a different decoration process. But yeah, that was a different color. I think that was a white wheel and they decorated red.
Wait,
This one, sorry.
Some cars, like the 69 Chevelle, you made it in a hardtop and never convertible. The 70 Chevelle, you made it convertible and hardtop. We ever see a 69 Chevelle convertible?
I don't know how hard you want to push for that, but
it's possible. I mean, there's no reason that we can't do it. I mean, it just really comes down to the main line is the premium, where is it gonna be, what are we looking at next? But it's quite possible it could be in the line.
And it's a pretty long process when we're choosing new tools. We want to make sure we have the right amount of silhouettes, different texture varieties, vehicle makes, manufacturers. We also have to look at it from a licensing angle as well, because we opted to do X amount of GM cars or X amount of Hondas. So when we're planning basics and bringing, we're taking a lot of different things into consideration for new ones. And some fans just want a car down really bad, and sometimes we do.
It took 7 years for my DeLorean.
Nobody knows that.
There's a DeLorean convertible coming.
There's some older cars, older mainlines that probably weren't popular back when they came out, but it seems like on the secondary market, they're starting to get, people are grabbing them a lot. How much are you guys watching that and thinking about pulling that mold back out and starting to reuse it, because it hasn't been around for 5 or 6 or 7 years in the mainline?
If it hasn't been around for 5 or 6, 7 years in the mainline, the tool isn't around anymore. You only can store them so long before they rust away, or they just get too expensive to just keep storing, so they get recycled. So we would have to retool it for whatever reason, and then probably by then it might optimize it for modern manufacturing or something like that. But we do try to keep an eye on things. I'm sure a few get past us here and there, but if you have any specific examples of cars that are hot in the secondary market now that were duds when they came out?
not necessarily hot, but just, it seems like when you see them, they're actually going for decent money, not $1 cars. I'm a big Vega fan, so there's a bunch of funny cars and different things like that, as well as the street, the V8 Vega, and then there was the Pro Stock car. It seems like people are grabbing. It seems like when I see those on auctions and different things, they're going for more than just $1 cars. So people are paying a little bit more for them. There's a couple of other castings.
And I mean, like all of us, we're pretty regularly on social, and we kind of follow Instagram a lot, so we kind of see what's trending with you guys. So we always consider that too.
Some of us even try to walk the rooms.
Try.
Just try. We give it a modest effort.
Yeah.
Team Transport's very excited when you guys announced it, and can you talk a little bit more about how you're developing it further or adding to the line? I mean, obviously there's a couple of different releases this year, but is it going to expand beyond the 3 or so castings for the trucks? And
oh yeah, yeah. So we have a ton of new tooling. Team Transport, we were about 4 months late on the first mix, which just hit a few weeks ago. Or started to hit stores a few weeks ago. That was originally supposed to be in December. But yeah, it's one of our favorite lines as well. The guys that work on it, and there'll be new trucks, there'll be new cars. There's a lot of cool stuff.
On the Team Transport thing.
You'll see that you're on later.
The collaboration with Supreme, do you plan on doing any sort of red line club exclusives Team Transports?
We've actually thought about that idea as well. Right now, there's nothing planned, but it'd be how much would you be willing to pay for a Spectre Flame Team Transport?
I'd be willing to pay way too much. That's why that's pretty obvious.
So I mean, that gives us reassurance to consider something like that.
I'm not going to ask about the Koenigsegg. You already got that answer.
Car Culture RLC set in the works?
Not right now.
in reference to like the box set or?
Yeah, the box set they did with the 5 special cars.
And that, like, Julian, I think, died over that set trying to pull it off.
We decided to do that later, and so I had to go back and recreate all the artwork from the previous mixes with new cars. Yeah,
it was a super late mix.
Well, we'd love to give him that opportunity again. So
I think it'd be far back.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you're going to come out with more vintage campers, trailers? The Airstream that you came out with?
I haven't seen any.
I thought you had a whole camper sort of coming in.
No, sorry. But again, if that's something that a lot of people like, we'd like to listen to our collectors.
On the Team Transports, will you be coming out with any more type of like gasser cars like Nova to be in the sets?
I'm trying to think.
You got the gasser Nova and
You got the gasser Nova, the black one. Yeah, that's for the 55.
55.
Julian's favorite car.
Yeah. I can definitively tell you we do not have a 55 gasser transporter as of right now. For 2019.
So
possibly.
They don't have the Ferrari license. I don't need to ask that.
Hot rod free? With an LS?
Good, I can work on my stuff.
So I just want to throw something else out there off the Team Transport. It's something that people have asked for over the years, steering rigs. Is it a possibility to bring something like that back along that line?
Anything's possible. Do we know? Question, like, if we brought that back, it'd be, where do we distribute it? Like, do we sell it ourselves? Can we sell it into retail? What type of price point would that actually be at now? Because there's a lot of different we've thought about it, there's nothing in the immediate future for that, unless Brendan wants to go gun-ho and change his mind on something. But, yeah.
Because I think along the cost-wise, the team transport, it could probably be about that same level.
Probably more.
Maybe a little more, but I think people would be willing to pay for it.
It would definitely be more because you're gonna have to add a linkage
Right.
mechanism inside. But if how do I say this? Let's just say I'm probably aware that someone has looked at it somewhere in relatively recent time. I'm not saying if they're moving forward with it or not, but it's not forgotten about by people in El Segundo.
And it might not be the same form.
Well, yeah, just more modern, something modern.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Here's a final question. Will there be a gasser DeLorean?
With opening doors.
Yes,
with opening doors, of course.
That's the next year's
Hey, there you go.
Gas or Prius?
Larry's already drawn that.
You could use a DeLorean panel too.
Give me ideas.
He might be okay.
Call it DeLorean
Should
shady
go
break.
88 miles an hour, I tell you that.
Silent.
Yes.
Hey, Jim, okay.
I noticed yesterday that you said that you use clay, resin, and wax in your models. What type of clay do you use?
I used to use clay. We're all 100% digital. Well, 99.9% digital. And so I work in the sculpting department. So we do sculpting for the entire Mattel organization, including Fisher Price and American Girl. So I specialize in cars, obviously, and we do everything in the computer visually. So I would say we haven't done any clay or wax work in probably 10 years.
How hard was that to transfer over?
What's that?
How hard was it to transfer physically making it with your hands to a digital representation of what you were trying to make?
Not that hard. We have a special program that we use. It's a hot tapping device that has force feedback, and we're physically moving this pen, so it captures that movement in the computer. So it's not like we're moving a mouse or clicking, and we can't feel it. We can actually feel force feedback from the device we're using. So the motion that we're used to in sculpting with clay and wax is actually translated perfectly into a computer. And the great thing is, I do one side and I flip it. I don't have to copy the other side. So it's faster, but then it's not because there's more changes. It's kind of easier to do changes now because it's some designers, not you, think it's an easy thing to can we make it bigger? It's like, well, yes, but it takes I've already spent X amount of hours on it, but to change it to make it bigger, I have to mess with the wheel wells and all this other stuff. So everything is affected by everything else. So just because making it bigger sounds like that, it actually takes me like 5-10 hours possibly.
Well, that's where the question comes from. We have a program that works with play a lot, and what we've noticed is when you're trying to even up sides to sides and stuff, whether or not you manipulate one side, how is it going to affect the other side? Looking at it from all the angles, and of course he's on an 8, well he's 9 right now, so he's still trying to hone that. But we were wondering, how effectively was it changing over to digital versus?
It's actually harder because it takes just as long, because before when we did it by hand, we would do something and it would be like, okay, it's good, because it takes so long to change it. Because if we were to change, like move the wheels or make the wheel wells bigger, or make it bigger, start from scratch, totally from scratch, because you can't just make it bigger. You have to start over. In the computer, to make it bigger, I could make it bigger, but then adjust everything to fit whatever parameters that we need to, for the wheels and track clearance and all that technical stuff.
The gaps of the door gaps, all those little details get affected when you scale something, or even if you just stretch it now, all of a sudden
it screws everything up. Yeah. So the only thing we do now that's by hand is finishing up Barbie heads. because of the process, and like a little trivia, back of the head, it says the name of, like copyright 2019 Mattel. I do those hand scribing because I got small handwriting, so they can have you. So the limited edition ones, you'll see my handwriting on, but the more mass production ones, they're like stamped on there.
One other fun fact, when you buy a charity auction Hot Wheels prototype, there's a little inscribed alphanumeric serial number on the bottom. He hand scribes those too with his tiny.
My teachers and friends and classmates always say, "Why do you write so small?" My wife says that too. I'm like, well, one, I save paper. Two, I make a living doing it now.
So I have a couple of questions from viewers. One nerd who Jimmy, asked about, his name's Jason, asked about the chance of, with the success of car culture, like replicating those 30 car sets that were done with Boulevard and Garage or anything like that with some exclusives in them.
Yeah, so it seems like an easy thing, like a no-brainer for us to do, right? But it's actually really difficult for those sets because we only produce these cars one time each. So Mix 1 is produced in October of last year. That means we would have to store them for the whole year while the other cars came out and store those as well. With our plants, specifically that one, there's not that much room per se. So it's not like they have a warehouse where they can just store stuff. It's an actual production line. There won't be anything for this year, but it's an idea that we actually consistently go back to.
Okay.
Because those were, like the Garage ones, those are super cool executions. And it'd be kind of cool to have something like that for car culture.
The other question, you brought back the name Drag Strip Demons. Specific questions have come from, would you bring back the name for car culture or something, Vintage Racing or Speed Machines?
Or a similar execution to them, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Speed Machines, that's been used twice now. That was early 80s.
Yeah.
As well as. Yeah, sometimes names come back.
Back on the design, are you guys, you do your sculpting and so forth, but do you guys do like the laser measurements and actually bring a car in and get it fully scanned and let it populate that way and then start to tweak it at all?
There are different processes for different cars, so yeah, sometimes it's a good answer. It all depends. I mean, like if we're working on a brand new car, we could get CAD file data right from the manufacturer's licenser, and from that we can scale it down. But then again, we as designers will go back in, say in Photoshop with different views, we'll tweak the wheel openings, we'll tweak maybe the canopy, or we'll stretch something, we'll angle it, whatever to make it look like a Hot Wheels, give that direction, and work with guys like Manson to sculpt it and execute it.
If it's an old car, then there's no CAD file, so I basically work off photographs or a designer sketch.
Yeah, sometimes you get control drawings, sometimes.
Depending on the design.
Any chance in the RLC side of things of bringing back the subscription, where you can subscribe to get one of each car?
So the last time we had a subscription last year.
Year before.
Year before. I mean, it was shit.
Yes.
Like our IT team, our infrastructure for the e-com team for that website is not suitable for a subscription model, and everything was band-aided over band-aided to kind of execute that subscription model when we transferred over to the actual different sites. So until IT and that e-com team come up with a different solution, I don't want to offer that just because of how bad the customer experience was.
Okay. Well, for what it's worth, my opinion, I don't know if I speak for more people or not.
You liked it.
Especially with how the site works and how things go with sellouts. It's very nice beginning of the year. Yeah, I'll get cars that I don't necessarily want, but I don't have to stress out, sit in a waiting room, show up. I get every release right down the ticker. It was very convenient and nice to have that.
Trying to get on and get the cars.
Yeah, I'm sitting on my phone. You guys release it to my pocket. And yeah, I'm sitting there in my truck, on the side of the road.
Real quick, back to the scanning question. One particular example we just remembered, the 66 Batmobile that Larry worked on back in '07, they use one of those little mobile scanners and scan that car. No. So yes, sometimes they do that.
Well, cars are kind of big, so it's hard to get a machine or get a partner that has a facility to scan a car. So most of the stuff that we have that is scanned are
Ferro arm though, I mean.
actors and talent from like WWE that we, that's more portable. It's the scan person's face and body from, whatever device, scanning devices you have.
Manufacturing uses a thing called a ferro arm. And it'll go plot and pick up points, and it'll transfer it into a CAD file. That's why I was asking, so you can.
Is that how they made the Pepsi Next cars? Remember those? They weren't made by Mattel. Mattel, I talked to some of you.
Yeah.
They didn't make those, but they're almost like perfect knockoffs. Like the dairy looks, the wheels are not good, but looks like they scanned actual Hot Wheels and made molds off of those. There was a bone shaker and a highway hauler, I think, and a dairy, some other cars. It was a promo that Pepsi did.
If it was licensed.
It was licensed by Mattel,
Oh,
but
then we probably give them those.
yeah, but the molds aren't those molds.
No, they would have their own tooling.
Yeah, they did their own tools, but they may have scanned them possibly.
Just like certain, there's been some larger scale plastic lights and sounds cars over the last number of years. They would take our CAD data, scale it, and revise it.
Because the wheels didn't even look good on those cars.
Yeah. And then, of course, there are knockoff companies. I think there's one currently overseas that's ripping off a bunch of our cars.
Right, I've seen those
We're aware of it.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah. We have examples.
Now, are you gonna continue with the one car per Redline Club?
It'll depend on the release.
Okay.
Yeah, but in general, with the releases we have coming out, yes.
Okay, because that, someone like me, it's, like I said, I'm on the phone, trying to refresh it. Those are literally the only ones I can get.
So I'm not like an IT wizard or anything, but I don't think refreshing actually helps anything when you're in the waiting room. Like I don't think it helps any chance at all. You're actually probably just, everybody's probably doing it and screwing up the system.
Mr. Walker.
This is just a suggestion from Manson. I'd like to see RLC side of it, the Gold American Express door, a really cool finish on mine. So throwing it out there. I know you know that car, so that'd be a cool one to have too.
I've seen the one at years. Okay. It's pretty awesome. There's one in Reno and
you've got one.
I don't want to get into DeLorean future history.
Well, the DeLorean tool exists, as we know. We all got one last night. It's really where someone can put it in their marketing agenda. So the question should be directed over here.
Okay, that's true. Well, I'll just nail him.
Why don't you give up one of yours? It's a lot of stuff.
No, it's not a new tool.
I know.
There's a difference.
But there's no slot.
Should we throw out this Honda and do that instead? Because, gold car is a gold car. We can run the gold Honda.
More than I do.
Good start.
Someone had it over here.
So I have gotten questions about theft from the factory. The question was, are you aware? Which I thought was kind of a funny question, but I think that you're aware.
Yes.
Any comments on theft from the factory, specifically the Malaysian one?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing problem. Just so you guys know, there are 4 plants that make Hot Wheels cars. Basics are done in Malaysia. Most of the premium stuff and character cars are done in Thailand, and 5-packs are now being done in Indonesia, whereas all the RLC items are being done in China right now. Yeah, we see the most common stuff coming from Malaysia. We have security, we have metal detectors, we have cameras, we have all the regular preventative measures, but it's, people get really creative with how they get stuff out of there. It's a problem that we'd like to solve, we're working on it. it's just not gonna be an element fix or anything like that, unfortunately. So, yeah. And some people like it.
Well, it probably helps that, you know, if we eliminate the market here, if people don't buy the stolen product, then maybe people won't be compelled to steal it.
That's the age-old issue right there.
Yeah.
Anything
that you can't get rid of.
But one of our biggest problems is that there's a group of collectors that have made friends with those people, and they say, hey, make this, and make this, and they get it. You know, I get emails all the time. Factory customs, factory prototypes, this, that, and the other thing. And I know that, you know, we've talked about it and tried to get rid of it. But as John said, you know, there's collectors out there that know these guys and say, hey, do this, do that. So when I get an email and somebody says, oh, look what I got, and I paid $300-400 for it. It's like, it's not worth anything. It's not anything that, you know, Brendan or Madison or anybody designed. It's not a real piece. But you're still having those guys have it made, and there's people out there that won't pay the $200-300 for it.
And there's no packaging.
Right, and there's no packaging. So, but then again, there are some that did show up in the Super Treasure Hunt package, you know, like the Daytona when it first came out. You know, some came out with the steel slots on it, and of course those were the fake ones. And you know, people are like me, look, I got this, it was $300, and I told them, well, you got to take it. And they didn't want to take no for an answer, but you know, the correct one was with the rocket wheels on it. But that's the issue that we're having. Is like you know, John said, if we could, if the collector would stop buying them, then we wouldn't have a market for it.
Seems to me Jimmy and I are in some of those groups.
And, well, but that's pretty flagrant also that they're, you know, actually, look what I got, and you know.
I'm in a lot of groups, just to see what's
And,
out there.
you know, I did an episode on it, and I caught a lot of heck for it, but then again, I caught a lot more, you know, yeah, you know, thanks for mentioning that, so people don't get taken advantage of. But that's the question I get all the time, doesn't Mattel know? It's like, yeah, of course Mattel knows, but it's just, you know, if people keep buying it, it's gonna happen. So we gotta stop, not me, but
The community, it's like, it's not any person's fault, like, I
Yeah.
mean, we're responsible for it, elected is responsible for it, it's community.
Yeah.
So along that lines, there's people out there that take Hot Wheels and they'll change the wheels on them, put them back in the package and say they came from
That's just
from,
disgusting.
is there a way to know where, what factory has what wheels, so you can identify them easier?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the people who buy the premium cars.
No, I thought like a main line, like somebody gets a main line, because I just ran across one when someone's trying to say, oh, they got basic wheels on a specific car. And is there a way to know whether that factory has that wheel?
I mean, we know where our wheel tools are.
No, I know you do, but is there a way that we can?
Are you talking about the Escort?
Is it an Escort?
Yeah, the Escort came with the old concept.
The basic wheels that came on the retro cars that are showing up on some.
Yeah, and people
They're
say,
made
no,
in
it's
the same
legitimate.
plant. They're made in the same plant, so.
For the
Target
the
cars.
5 car set from last year.
And I don't buy
Those
this.
Target cars that were retro.
The throwback cars.
Throwback, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those wheels were showing up on mainline Escort. People are posting pictures of them.
So we make those wheels ourselves. And yeah, obviously if it's in the same plan, they might just be digging in a bag where they had excess wheels.
Because I know how easy it is to change those wheels without even drilling it apart, so. That's just my question. How can you verify legitimacy? Is the question.
You ask Mike.
No, you have to, what Jimmy said, yeah, you have to ask me or Rob or, you know, guys that deal with people all over the country, all over the world, that say, hey, this is what I found, this is what I found, you know, where'd you find it, how many did you find? You know, if there's 15 of them found only in one city,
Yeah,
it's kind of, you know, and when a lot of stuff, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that, well, this one guy's always got these super cool variations, and he's the only one that's finding them. You know, it's
That's not me.
It's not him. But you know that he can make anything look like it came from the factory.
Oh,
So I depend on him. I depend on him to say, yeah, look at this. There's a lot of stuff that I might not catch.
Right.
And he'll say, look at this package, look at that. And I'm like, aha. So, but I get emails, God, hundreds of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, John, or Rob too. You know, you get them all the time, people ask, and I have no problem in saying, yes, this is good, no, that's, you know, that's bad. So, yeah, feel free. I'm sure, right, Rob, to email either one of us.
And I asked
I tried to answer them on Facebook too, and some of them, you know, they weren't even made, the wheels were in a different factory.
Right, different factories, and yeah, different, Malaysia or
Maybe
Thailand.
that's like custom, somebody's taking advantage of you, or you bought something that's not good.
And we're not, you know, we're here to help everybody. You know, we don't want to get taken advantage of, so, you know.
That's what's got me puzzled right now. I'm seeing pictures of it from all sorts of different people now, so I don't know.
Show me later.
Yeah, I don't know the legitimacy of it, and that's what I just want to verify.
I probably won't know either, but I'll ask you.
Yeah, I was asked about that a lot this week.
It was quick in the factory that day, we were gonna have some fun. It was
Um,
the last day.
All the new wheels. Where, you know, cause I hate bugging you with an email or texting or whatever.
Same here.
Where can we, like when a new wheel comes out, send me a note, say, hey, this is what.
Yeah, like the new off-road wheel,
What is it called? Yeah.
I'm calling that the new off-road bicycle.
Yeah.
You know, I learned yesterday, you know, the MC5, you know, we thought it was the muscle car 5, not the Manson, you know.
I mean, half the time I don't know what they're called until so one thing is I don't know what color things are until I see it on the shelf because I work in black and white basically, and a lot of the names that I work on, they're not final names, especially the ones that are I was originals. So I'm really at the very down on the ladder of responsibility. I have no responsibility for it. You know, stuff that I see like, oh, I'm so like in the beginning, early process that when I see it, I forget that I worked on it. Like half the cars that I see, like I don't remember if I worked on it.
Wait till you get older.
Yeah. The ones I design, I know much, but
he forgets he worked on it.
yeah. Yeah, you show me a car, I really can't tell you if I worked on it or not, unless I really know that I did work on it. But if I did work on it, I wouldn't feel it like honestly.
I have bad memories.
Or you'd be like George Barris and say you worked on all. I love George.
The back to the gentleman's question they had about the RSC subscription and what I've seen in the hobby is where you can buy the factory sealed sets. Do y'all find from a marketing thing that I think that would y'all start those in what 2015? Being able to offer those where you could buy all the cars from
The mainline sets?
yeah, because don't some of those have all the K-Day cars and the Kroger cars? Don't they have all that? Is that something that y'all find that a lot of people are adhering to, just to buy those in that fashion instead of hunting them, or?
What's your specific question?
I was just wondering, because y'all are doing those, are you finding that more people prefer to purchase in that arrangement than just, hey, I'm gonna go try to go look for this 100 and how many of our cars was in it?
So we do such a small quantity of those.
Right.
That they sell out.
Yes, very.
I can't gauge if that's the consumer preference.
Okay.
To do that, and there's no way we could ever do something large scale of that because kind of the similar issue to what I was explaining before, we just don't have room to stock that many. I mean, but you know, we want to keep it a small number of sets because it keeps it exclusive. It's a nice thing to have.
All the packaging and all good, so I know it costs you a lot of money from a process. I was just curious because it's something that's just, from what I know, a little bit I know about the factory sets, you know, it's what, 4 or 5 years old, right? So there must be some need for it. Just wondering if that was something that y'all are still exploring. Just curious.
You know, it's pretty popular with the people I know that buy them, that they prefer that than going around looking for cars.
But at the same time, if we made too many, then no one would want it.
Nobody buy them in store. Sure, we do. I understand.
So there's always that fine line of how much to produce and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so basics are done at a different plant,
Mhm.
and there is more storage there compared to
Sure.
the premium plant, so.
On that, you know, Kmart now sells the 4 cases.
Yeah, the Media Master ones.
And when you open up the Media case, I mean, there's no damage on the outside of the package. The sleeves look fine, but you pull the card out of the sleeve, and the whole, you know, half the row is crunched up and.
Yeah, I've seen a couple images like that float around. And
Yeah.
so that would be like the packing team at the plant doing that. You know, do you see, like, I see one, but I don't see that many complaints from our side.
I don't know who the complaints go about that.
The 800 number on the customer service.
I've bought several of those, and every case, there's some of the cards are jumped up and messed up.
How many did you buy?
Last year, I bought 6 or 8.
And 6 or 8 of them all had issues?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of them too that way too.
Yeah. A lot of people buy those and they just put them away, they don't even open them up, they don't even know they're gonna.
Yeah, because they don't know.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too, lately, maybe the past year or so, there's a bunch of, like, they got caught out of.
In the long rectangular white.
Oh, in that, no, I'm sorry, I was thinking the cases themselves, the ABC cases, sometimes a lot.
Yeah, where it's like
Premium ones too, because I get a lot of them that are messed up too.
Yeah, they just like cram them in the case and then they fold the case over and, you know, stuff the top, fold it up.
Oh, yeah, that's what that's too, yeah.
Yeah, I know, you know, in the master case,
I think there'd be a little more pride in those because most people buy those and put them away and not gonna open it. And here they open up years later and they got all this garbage.
It's kind of like LP records. You buy a record that's sealed, you don't know if it's good or not inside. If you don't open it, you can't play it, right?
and if you call Mattel on that number, they won't send you, like, if you have a super that's busted up or something, they tell you they won't, not you guys, from customer service, tell you that, you know, they'll send you another car, but they can't guarantee that it's gonna be that, you know, super.
Coupon. Isn't it like a coupon?
You know, I never did it, I just know that, you know, people have got.
I had a bad experience.
Written inside.
I bought the factory sealed set in 2018 and opened it up and the K-Day exclusive one right on top, blister was exploded somehow. I called up and they're like, you can return it, but we can't do anything else. And I obviously was sold out at that point, so I just spent all the money on it, so I'm gonna return it. It didn't make sense to me. And I called up again and they're like, oh, we'll give you a $20 credit. And I was like, that's cool, but that's not gonna justify me going and buying it for $50 on eBay because somebody's splitting up theirs. And then I called back the third time and they're like, I don't know who told you about the credit, but that's not happening. You know, you can return it if you want. So obviously, we all get our frustration with the website and the support team. I know it's not you guys directly, but the customer service, it's just somebody, you know, who couldn't care less. They're just working there, in my experience with that iPad. So, again, I just bought one and it cost me more money, but it is what it is. I can still set it now. There's no broken ones. So.
Sorry.
I got it 7-8 times already. It is what it is.
But it's not your fault. So thank you.
We're one that's out, it's all over.
So did you work on the electric slot car sets?
I do not.
Oh, the fittings, they're horrible if you want to take it all apart again, because they'll start snapping off. The 132 scale. That you can buy at BJ's and things, like 30.
Oh, are like the consumer product items?
Yeah.
So a lot of those, we license out Pop Wheels, the brand, to a manufacturer that makes them. So like we don't even touch that. We do have some in Europe themselves. Yeah. I don't know what's here, but I know we had some sets. I forgot the No, it gets approved through our consumer products thing. Yes. So like those we don't really touch. We just check for branding, make sure everything's okay.
Who gets the #1 car off the line after it's packaged?
You talk about like a limited production run?
Any car. Cause you will say like the gasser, there's number one, then there's number two, all the way down to 500. Who gets the number one car?
They're packed and distributed. You know, the candy striper was on eBay last year or whatever. So I mean, obviously someone out there got it, not us. We don't see it. The only time the exception is like if we specifically request ahead of time. We did that last year with the original 16 store display. We asked them to set aside production number one, and they hand crated it, you know, boxed it up, crated it, sent it to us, and then we charity auctioned it. So, but no, we don't cherry pick them and ask for that stuff.
I don't even get product.
You drive a DeLorean, right?
Sometimes.
I just was curious, back to the packaging and shipping stuff that we were just discussing. The super set or master sets come, of course, during the winter, and being from Minnesota, they're all, or you know, it's the coldest time of the year. Would there ever be any consideration to how that's packaged so their blisters aren't entirely busted due to just the cold? Which I know there's little we can do about, but.
I mean, we have more like our transit requirements.
You saying it's cold in Minnesota? These guys are from California, they have no idea what cold means. It's just 40 degrees for a sweater cold.
Go to Iowa, it's cold.
Well, shit, they're available.
That's a packaging question.
Yeah, well, it's a packaging question because it's a package, but but packaging is made up of a bunch of different people. Like I do the graphics and art direction for the packaging, but then we also have a packaging engineer who works on the actual die lines and you know, forms of the packages and the blisters. We have another group of people in product integrity, which would have more sort of information about just that kind of stuff, like, you know, survivability of materials and things like that.
So like we have standard requirements that in order for a product to get through, it has to pass certain tests, certain drop tests and whatnot. I don't know if there's specifically one for super snowy weather.
Could be as simple though as shifting some of those expensive kit type set products to a different availability and offer date, so that those ones that people may not open for a long time that have multiple pieces and a higher dollar amount don't get shipped in those times when the product could be vulnerable.
Well, the problem too is that the seasons change around the globe, so when it's warm in one place, it's cold in another.
And I can also tell you that they do life cycle tests, and like when they're shipping overseas and products sitting in, you know, shipping containers, baking on a cargo ship, you know, it gets in the hundreds of, you know, 100-something degrees or whatever. So I mean, stuff gets hot universally, and it has to survive that as well. So I mean, they do take those factors into consideration and do the best that we can to offer a product that will survive all of that. And have the UV coat stuff, you know, all that stuff.
Do you know if you guys are going to be looking at any better ways or product for the blisters? Because I've been finding a lot of the premium, like the retros and all that stuff, the premium lines, they're cracking right out of the cases.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that where we get more feedback, we can react. We know of that issue. You know, we're working with the packaging team partners overseas and the PA team that you just mentioned, the product integrity. Yeah, it's yes. It's just, again, you know, it's not an immediate solve, but anything that you see in stores right now, you know, was shipped 6 months ago probably. So for us to catch up, you know, you have to take some time to realize, to see the different changes and improvements that we've been doing.
What was the reasoning behind the switch of the car culture cars from the smaller ones to the larger ones?
That was, in addition to just the card size one, was we couldn't afford headlights or taillights. A lot of deco and like a lot of deco details, and you know, I personally felt that didn't justify the product. So obviously, you know, it needed to be with the same deco index as the other premium lines, pop culture, relevant entertainment and stuff. So, you know, we wanted all three line priced essentially. Then again, you're also getting the same product for it too. So, if I was to do it over again, we probably would have never had car culture at that such low price point, just because, you know, it's a shame we couldn't get full details on all those cars for the first couple of years there.
Do you have any more classic trucks in line for like Red Line Club?
How classic?
I like the 49 Ford.
You have a bunch of SKUs.
Let me guess, anything's possible.
Do we know what the next RLC release is yet?
Yeah, we know.
You'll probably find out. That's actually a really good question.
I don't think there's anything slated.
It should either be the gasser or the Datsun.
The ones that they showed.
Yeah.
The Willys?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know, it might be the Willis too.
The Willis will be up next?
When is the Willis Willys?
No, you had it right the first time. Willis.
No, Willis is at Blackgate with
Yeah. I've been calling it Willys for 60 some odd years, so I was gonna be a Willie for 60 some odd years.
Willis.
Yeah, Mr. Drummer.
Building downtown Chicago. That's the building downtown Chicago.
Is it?
The Sears
Willis.
No, it's not the Sears Tower.
Yeah, it's the Sears Tower.
And it's spelled differently.
But it's still Willis.
Sears.
It's spelled differently, so it's still Willys to me. Sorry.
What are you looking up, Jimmy?
I'm seeing if I get internet so I can tell you what it's like.
Jimmy would know what comes up next.
On your 20 car packs, why do you only put like a certain car in there and won't put it into a single blister pack?
Because when we're doing multi-packs like that, we have a pool of cars to choose from, and they're called variety vehicles. So the designers, the graphic guys, will specifically design certain cars just for the 5-packs, multi-packs, and whatnot, and they'll pull from that little bucket. Part of it's also just production execution, like, you know, not all cars are running at the same time. They're only running certain mixes. So they have to allocate certain space for the variety vehicles. And another issue is sometimes they're not done at the same time. So like the 5-packs are individual.
It's kind of like you ran the Hudson Hornet in blue and maroon, red, whatever you want to call it. And the black one is only in a 20 car pack.
Those were last year's, and I noticed on those multi-pack cars, they use the same graphics from the previous year because they're already done, right? They're already in the system, so it's really easy for them to just put these graphics on the newer cars, because they do that a lot on those multi-pack cars. That's how we know they're multi-pack cars. Like, oh, those are the graphics from last year, so we kind of know that they're kind of exclusive to those. They're in the 3-packs too, those cars. So if you don't want to buy a 20-pack, save some money and see if it shows up in the 3-pack.
It's all you.
You only know DeLoreans.
Only know.
N59 Cadillac.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Will you bring out a 58 Chevy Impala, I guess?
That's a big ass.
There is a 58 Chevy Impala in American Graffiti, written by Ron Howard.
Yes.
It's not a gasser per se.
Yeah, but it's another model to make into a gas, like you did the Nova, Chevelle.
Yeah. We did the, yeah, 35, we got some Mercury, Comet.
That Nova gas wagon just came out was awesome, by the way.
Cool. Yeah. You work on it.
I have a question. I saw months ago they had a 55 gasser. I saw pictures that someone sent me, but it's got like the like an ammo design on it, like a fighter plane. Is that actually going to be a release, or is that something that?
Yeah, that's an RLC. That'll be out this
Oh, that's
year.
what you were talking about?
Yeah, that's what Jimmy's looking up to see if that's the next release.
I don't have it in that.
Okay.
Awesome. Apparently Weston is meeting early, that's access code, but we'll see if I can find it.
But yeah, that one should be about ready to go.
Okay, awesome.
How do you come up with designs from these? Just pop in your head, or do you take a dart, throw it at the dartboard?
For
Paint that dart.
Well, I mean, kind of like what Jimmy was saying earlier, you know, there's a team of people that work on the lines, and, you know, we take into consideration cars we have, trends that are upcoming, silhouettes and profiles, different, you know, if we have licenses, if we have any obligations or balance of stuff, sadly, we don't want all just one category of cars, so it can't be all muscle cars, as nice as it would be.
Or trucks.
Or trucks, or whatever. So, you know, we take into consideration all different stuff, again, different licenses or properties that we're working with, or just themes, trends, looking at what we've done, where we've been, where we haven't, like what's new, what's exciting, stuff like that. So it's a balance of all of it.
How many kids do you hire to say which cars do you like better when you play?
There is a consumer insights team that we have in our tower that does work with outside moms, kids. They do online research studies. They conduct reports. They work with outside agencies. They share that information with us. So we do get consumer feedback. We find out, you know, trends, you know, like what's the hot video game? What are kids doing now? What are moms shopping for? What are boys and girls and stuff? So I mean, we get this kind of information prepared and sent to us, as well as doing actual testing with focus and research groups, like say if there's a new track set, a play set, they can do testing, you know, can the kid do it? It's one thing if a designer or marketer can come up and slam blast a car and have it do a loop and a jump. It's another if a little kid can do that same thing and make it actually work, you know. Sometimes, you know, we need a reality check of, you know, can the kid do that? Because even though we can do it, oh, that was easy, or that was fun, or oh, that wasn't fun enough, but maybe it's too complex or too cerebral for our actual consumer.
I got another question too, kind of based on packaging. How do you decide what cars get like I guess the RLC car or a specialty car? Which ones get put on a card versus which ones get put in an acrylic case?
Jimmy, that would be a good you. Because you actually decided.
There's only handfuls I know that are in acrylics, but you know, some of them are Comic-Con, some of them are MEAs, some of them are, you know, different events, I guess.
It's kind of whatever I feel like for the day.
It's like that Magnus Walker one. I know the Magnus Walker's in an acrylic.
Yeah.
And I don't know if one was released in acrylic last year that I can remember.
So I mean,
Captain America.
So, you know, some collectors like blister cards, some of them like acrylic cases, some don't care. When we're looking at the line holistically, we're just trying to make sure we kind of check all the different boxes for everybody.
Okay.
If there is a specific feature involved with the cards though, it might make more sense to, you know, if possible, if we can do it in an acrylic case, especially, you know, Magnus is bigger, like, it just wouldn't look good in a blister.
Yeah, blister, yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry I'm not definitive, but it really just depends if you look at each part.
I just wasn't sure if it was something that was kind of picked randomly, or maybe like you only get one of that casting in acrylic a year or something like that.
There's rarely anything random that we actually do. There is actually a lot of thought behind everything that we do down to the nitty gritty screw that we use or whatever. But yeah, it's more what shows the product in the best light, and you know what would you guys like the most. Or that's at least that's what we're trying to chase.
Yeah. Are you ever gonna do that? Like in those resets, you know, do something like that and then have the actor next to it?
Licensing for people, it's like, so, you know, we have a license for GM, but we don't have a license for Elvis Presley. To get likeness rights for him is a total different contract, total different, lot of work. So it depends. Some of them we do, like, we do have likeness rights, so we're like, okay, yeah, let's total them up as a figure. Can I guarantee you'll see them at Walmart's? Probably not. Again, it depends. If we have likeness rights and it makes sense and we have the slot for it, and if it fills consumer need, then we'll definitely try to do it.
So something like Spock, an easier one because he's a character instead of a person. I mean, like Magnus Walker is a human being as himself.
Spock was through the estate.
Oh, okay.
It's through Paramount, obviously, Nova. Was it Nova? I don't know. Earlier, I did that.
But we
Yeah. So it was through the estate. We had to contact the estate.
Did you sculpt them too?
No, just a product. I'm not a figure specialist. I let the people.
Are you guys in now with the card protectors that tell me?
Card keepers?
Trying to. Trying very hard to.
And 50-foot roll tracks too, we need those.
Okay, so you would buy a 50-foot roll track. How many people?
I'd buy 4 right now if I had them.
How many people in this room? How many people in this room would buy a 50-foot roll?
I would definitely buy.
Don't lie to me either.
Oh, well, I already have 8 of them anyway.
Yeah, we let someone get engaged with a 50-foot roller track last year.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Several.
It does have its use.
Several 50-foot roll tracks.
I had 4 rows and the guy borrowed them for one of the conventions that Diecast Space was doing, I never got them back.
Can you carry the inventory risk for us?
I heard he's in jail now.
Sent him to the wrong convention.
That's right.
With the popularity of the Fast and Furious car picture series, have you thought about doing like Gone in 60 Seconds series since it's such a plethora of cars and such a range of cars, and also with the new movie like John Wick, who's showcasing a lot of bad cars?
When you say Gone in 60 Seconds, are you talking original 1974 Calippi, or are you talking the Nicolas
Well, you
Cage?
could have 2 different hunts. You could have, you know, just like the Japan Historics was one set and another set. You could really branch out and make one set for this.
And those are 2 different completely licensors. Because different people own those films. So they'd be 2 different agreements. Yes, we consider it. We deal with a lot of licenses right now, and there's only so many more that we can take on, so many more that we can let go. But yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds is something we talk about every year when we're developing the new toy lines. There's nothing for 19, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I just see, I mean, when you look at those movies, you see something for everybody. You know, whether you're an America, a Mustang, you know, just whatever. So you really would please a larger selection of audience with those type of cars. You're gonna please everybody.
How do you choose what cars Walmart gets, what cars Kmart gets, what cars Kroger's gets, Target? Who says who gets what and how's it done?
The marketing manager on basics.
I was gonna say, that's where you draw the names out of, out of a hat.
Okay, so it's nothing specific, it's just like, okay, we're gonna give Target, these 10 cars, we're gonna give Walmart.
So, I mean, when we're defining the line architecture, like, yes, we set aside X amount of cars for Walmart, X amount of cars for Target. But then, I mean, basic cars, it's so complicated. There's so many, there's 400 cars, there's 50 different mixes. A lot of times the retailer needs it at certain time frames too. So in terms of like release planning, they'll plug in all the cars for the whole year. Out of this mix, we need to choose 3 for the Target exclusive. So which ones would make sense for Target? And they go from there.
So it's nothing really like crazy, you just, you guys pick the 10 cars for whatever.
Yeah, it's not as simple as that. And sometimes, you know, the buyer, the Walmart buyer, you know, he loves
JDM.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll throw him a loan, give him JDM, he'll be happy.
Yeah, because people always ask that, you know, and, you know, how do they pick this, how do they pick that, and,
You know, it's for when we plan on basics, and I don't work on basic cars, but when they plan on it, you know, we're planning every car to the T, and then we're planning production windows to the T too. And these are windows that can only be produced, producing these cars, because we have a limited amount of plant space. So when we're doing the exclusives, for the retail exclusives, you know, they're going, okay, this is this time frame, and these come in this mix. So here are the cars available. These cars are probably good candidates for that. These are more collector-oriented cars. Let's make them examples or whatnot.
As an aside, before we go to your question, the complexity of availability of cars and when they can manufacture them also affect what cars can go into track sets and be component cars for that, as well as what cars can be selected for conventions too.
And for premium too, because sometimes we share the same tooling and they're all done at different plants. So it's a logistical nightmare.
so if they're running one casting for the main line, which is gonna be red, and then, do they continue with that casting and change it up for the Walmart, exclusive color? Or do they just do that later on?
It depends on when the production windows or when the mix releases.
But I mean, you know, I know production, everything's scheduled for, you know,
That one,
that.
so they'll probably have like, instead of one die casting machine dedicated to the tool, they'll have 2 die casting machines because because there's only a certain amount of run rate that the plant can actually produce.
Along those lines, will we also see more Amazon exclusive releases, possibly even premium or collector releases go Amazon exclusive like they did the 10 packs?
So yeah, they're doing the 10 packs right now for the basic parts, right?
Well, they did the one with the gasser exclusive for the 50th. That was Amazon
But
exclusive.
they also did some series cars, so like.
Yeah.
Have the
Flame series.
have the mini collection cards come out?
Like flames, I don't remember which one, but like the flames, you know, the 10 car flame.
Possibly like
so
maybe,
continuing those.
maybe like a mail-in even type release where it's a metal-based real riders. I didn't know if there was anything like that.
Amazon, they're not gonna have anything premium like that. You know, we'll do another bundle set, like the 5-car set like we did for the Beatles, which was at TRU.
Yeah.
Last year we did the Alex Ross pop culture one. This year we'll do Fast and Furious. So.
Not the exclusive to them?
No, it's well the box itself is exclusive, but it's existing. It's the cars from next to it.
Your question over there.
Yeah, I used to love these when I was a kid, and they've become a little bit more popular now that I found out. Are you guys thinking about coming back with the 100% black boxes?
Those are tough.
What's stuff about?
Yeah. I mean,
21 pieces.
Well, the RLC cars with the moving parts and more complexity is kind of helping to address or hopefully fulfill some of that desire in collecting by having a more intricate RLC car.
I have a question also about exclusives we were just talking about, Target, Kmart. Would they ever end the Kmart exclusives now that almost all of them are closing down?
Yeah.
Since Sears is kind of closing also?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no
I got here kind of late, but I got a question on the Red Line Club. They have, when cars come out, they have different numbers on them, like 6,000, 10,000, but they allocate how many per membership. And like 2 per membership or 1 per membership. And like, I can't remember, I don't know if it was Steampunk that they did 6,000.
It's 2.
2. And if you got a membership, that means basically 3,000 members out of the whole club have an opportunity to buy that.
Yeah.
And the next release was 10,000, 1 per account. And here in the last year, the Red Line Club has just exploded where it seems like everything sells out in 10 minutes. So why can't they just limit 1 per account? And chances are they're gonna sell out like they have been. If they don't, then they would open it up the second day for everybody else to buy a second. You know, at least make it a little bit more even fair for the Red Line Club members to have an opportunity, instead of one member having multiples, because there's, you know, fewer selections. I mean, I don't know how you guys determine all that.
So we do make the decision on how many we want to allocate per member. This was asked previously, or a similar question. In general, the upcoming releases are all going to be one per person. But specifically for the steampunk, that was 2. It was a decision made by me, and I still stand behind it. I see, like, I know how big the waiting room is, so I know how many people were in the waiting room for that, and I mean, I know the decision I made, and I completely stand behind it. I'm sorry if you didn't get one.
I didn't want.
You just need to point out.
Looking at the numbers, trying to make it fair for all.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yes, we try to make this fair as possible, but at the same time, like, these are collectibles. It's never going to be fair for everybody. Like, I'm always going to pick
a little bit more fair.
Yeah,
Instead of 3,000 people getting them, 6,000 people get them.
But it's not necessarily that math, because you don't know how many people are actually buying duplicates.
Right, well, and they have multiple memberships.
Yeah, but if you have multiple memberships and you're buying duplicates, then I would see how many you're buying. But, I mean, I completely understand your point.
I mean, we know for the last year that with the Red Line Club, basically it's exploded to the point where people are basically buying cars no longer for a collection, but for a resale purpose.
It's always been like that from the first day. It's always been like that.
Well, the first day they made like 10,000, 12,000. And they sold out.
They sold out just as fast.
Ray, is that true? Did we make 10,000?
Yes.
We made 12.5 in year 2.
Yes.
And they sold out just as quick back then. I had to wait a year, even though I knew it was coming out, I had to wait a year just to get a Red Line Club membership, because I couldn't even get in to buy it, because they sold out that quick.
Yeah.
Back then.
When they had
I don't
12,000.
know about that, because
It took
I had
5 hours to sell
4
it. The
memberships,
system was
and I've been a member since day
Remember?
one.
Well, so have I. I mean, other than the second year, but that first year I couldn't get in, because they were sold out. And everything.
Well,
sold
every
out.
year, they've always had a number where they sell out. It's been limited every year. They've done that. Even this year, it sold out, and there's people still wanting memberships.
Has there been any announcement of how many memberships were available this year, since there's no numbers posted? I mean,
Because it sold out.
I feel like there's less than last year because of how quickly the membership sold out, but also you removed the restrictions of previous members get first dibs, and then it was basically a no holds bar. Is there even a rough number that could be said? More than, so there's more than 17,000.
Memberships available.
No, I tried to, and I couldn't, they sold out.
So, previous club members and RLC get first choice, and then their new person. Okay, like, this year, I finally got in after trying to get into Red Line Club for about 10 years.
And then they started selling
Will, like, if I apply for it next year, will you take me into consideration first before her, she puts in?
So, the system this year, we couldn't do that, like what the other people were doing, because it was IT issues, like we couldn't actually physically do it. They're working on it again. That's something that I think would be nice for everybody in doing that part. So we'll try, but I just can't guarantee we have the infrastructure on the back end to allow that to happen.
Any chance of getting multiple color membership cards again in the future?
Not because we have finite amount of SKUs. And, you know, we could do that, but then that would mean we would get 2 or 3 less releases throughout the year.
So don't do that, because I want more.
Yeah, so there's always a trade-off.
I know you guys are releasing the color shifting. Do you plan on doing that as a one-time thing or multiple times?
It might be there. Sorry.
The color shifting, I know you guys are doing that on the new RLC car coming out. Is that a one-time thing, or is that gonna be possibly again and again?
Right now, we just haven't planned for that Z. There's probably some other cars that would work for it, but we don't have it slotted anywhere else right now. Probably not for a couple of years.
Are you gonna try getting a driver's license back?
Whose license? Yeah, so they actually do exclusive rights to one company, and their term expires 2020 at the end of 2021. So that would be 22 when we could finish it.
Which one was that? I was not able to hear. What
Ferrari.
license?
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Oh, Ferrari. Okay, sorry.
I'm surprised they haven't come crying to you guys saying, take us back.
Who says they have?
The licensing with the Bugatti, the new Bugatti coming out, does that give you guys licensing back for a lot more of their cars, or is it probably that is particular?
So right now we have rights for those two models, Chiron and the Bear. Typically, when you work with most OEMs, they'll want, if we want to do a different Bugatti, we'll have to add that to the contract to be allowed to do it. Some of the OEMs don't work like that, but most of them are. So we'll need an amendment to have it on the contract to produce that car specifically, or that generation that year.
Is there consideration to do more Bugatti?
Yeah.
There's a technical term in the industry, it's called licensing. It's when they take the license and divvy it up, slicing it up as much as you can, because they want to get as much money as possible, basically.
And that's how we do Marvel character cars. Because obviously Hasbro's the master toy license for Marvel, because they do the action figure lines. But, they slice the 164 diecast line to us.
Live Nation was like that too, right? While we're doing the rock groups for a while, you went through Live Nation or the actual group.
Yeah. Well, they own the rights to a lot of different bands right now. So when we try to work with them, we try to just get all blanket coverage of all their bands. Some are more pickier than others.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see.
That was nice to see.
We might see some more.
So you're gonna show us some cars now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no pictures right now. No pictures, just look.
We're gonna have to shut this down.
What if I have like a Mission Impossible camera lens in one?
Well, we have only enough here who can tackle you.
Okay guys, we're gonna tap out. They're gonna show some cars to the people who are attending, and then you'll get to see those tomorrow. And we've already filmed some previews, and a lot of the questions that you had about cars coming out, you'll see all that later. But we filmed some showcases with the Mattel